The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show would like to acknowledge the traditional land owners and the leaders past, present and emerging of Ngunnawal, Ngambri and Darawal countries where we are working from today. This always was, and always will be, Aboriginal land.
Basically.
Yeah, it was bubbly sewage, basically.
Yeah.
And I was just smooth sewage, just a bit better than you. So
Smooth sewage.
I'm a bit of smooth sewage, mate.
That's going in a drop.
In a world of uncertainty,
River's jizzing in his pants, and then you bring up your wife in the next sentence. Like, oh no, what is going on?
there is only one place you can turn for fair dinkum advice.
One word, unbelievable. 2 words, holy shit. 3 words, oh my god.
A place where the undeniably American
It sounds so weird in like an Australian accent.
meets the undeniably Aussie.
Hey, Taylor, let's stop the foreskinning for some absolutely wonderful segments later.
Where the analysis is solid
I, for one, was not one of those haters, as I picked a Rams victory.
Look, I think he can get over 150 yards in this game, easily.
Kick his ass, Taylor Bass!
and everything else is out to kill you.
There's going to be shrinking nutsacks all over the place.
Welcome to the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
G'day, and welcome to the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. My name is Matty C, and of course I start the show off every week because that's just what I do. I'm here to try and steer this thing. Bit of a defeated wreck of a man this week, in actual honesty. It was week 1 of the NFL fantasy season this week. In case you didn't know, I'm in a lot of leagues. I'm in 12 leagues this year. Went 6-6. That wasn't all bad news, but gee, in my most important league, one that matters to me the most, the biggest, the 16-team Astro League. Manjot and I, we partnered up in that league, and it didn't go well. I think the way Taylor would put it is that our team ate a bag of wet possum dicks, and it struggled, and we're currently 14th in the overall. So it's been a tough week for myself and the president of football operations. We'll get Manjot in to talk a little bit more about how our fantasy season's going there, and of course Taylor as well. But hopefully your fantasy week was a little bit more successful than mine in your most important spot. And we'll get in and talk about a whole bunch of what happened through the fantasy week. You can find us, though, in more successful places because we are all over the social media. You can find us all over the internet. In fact, if you're catching us on the YouTube, you already know, right? But you may not know that we're in an audio podcast. You can find us on all the podcast platforms. Which ones? They're all on the link tree, so go and check that out. As well, if you're an audio listener and you didn't know we've got a YouTube show, come check it out. You find the link through the link tree. It's linktree/Aussie NFL Fantasy. On there, you'll also find our Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of them, all of the social media. Our Twitter is there as well. Pretty much all of them are Aussie NFL Fantasy. On Twitter, though, because of characters, you're only allowed a few, and we are AU NFL Fantasy. But also, we've got an email address, and you can even leave us a voicemail through anchor.fm/Aussie NFL Fantasy. But all the links are there. Go and check out the link tree. That is easily the best way to find us. Now, I'm going to bring the boys in a minute. We're all scored pretty poorly this week, although not all of us lost. So we'll get Taylor and Manjot to talk a little bit about that. And then we've got some great segments coming. If you didn't catch last week's show, you may be surprised at some of the fun that we're going to have tonight here on the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. So come along for the ride. Let's go.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
But mate, there's a tingling in my nutsack. What a man, what a mighty fine man.
God.
Maybe get Taylor to do it because I want it to sound like the Sackville Abbey.
I will be Googling right now.
Aussie.
Still finalizing a few details with Pastry Press NFL representatives. That dude runs Pastry Press with me, so all the trademark, all the copyrights have gone through.
NFL.
Yeah, look, I just heard the word pastry about 8 times, so I'm hungry as balls.
Fantasy.
All right. Are we ready to crack open a fresh can of sleep?
I've talked about some players having AIDS, some players then having Yades.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
This is what you can do when you're a mythical creature from 3,500 BC. Well, welcome to the boys. It's good to have you both here because, mate, didn't we crush it in Astros this week? I was talking in the pre-show a little bit about how having a prisoner football operation has really made a world of difference for the Western Wankers. But Taylor, I hear you had a cracking week in the Astros this week, mate.
All I can say, Matty C, is thank Christ that seahorse exists. The only reason I won was because I basically handicapped Peacocks my way to a week one win by scoring an enormous 80 points. And I think the average score this week was about 20, wasn't it, this week, Matty? So I was way over the average. So absolutely stoked with my enormous week. But it was lucky that I met an opponent that somehow found a way to play a bit worse than I did. So hopefully my team wins on its merits next week instead of just handicapping its way there.
Well, Manjot, on our end, Seahorse is one of the few teams to score worse than us. So, even we would have been Seahorse.
Yeah, we were bad.
Tell me about your first week as president of football operations in season for the Western Wankers, mate.
Absolute dog shit. That was the worst.
That's what we
not
like.
even Astro. Every single fucking
Everything.
league. I had injuries. I had people scoring single digits everywhere.
What
Literally-
gets Manjot's goat? This is
Yeah,
the segment.
yeah, this is and
Get
the
straight into it.
Niners. Oh my gosh, we
the
fucking lost to the Bears. Like, holy
You did
shit,
promise
we-
Red Jot was going to come out. So,
Yeah, like fuck. I lost absolutely everything. I was tearing folders on Instagram and everything. I was tearing
He was
folders, totally not pre-recorded. But honestly, man,
Content
this was
league,
the worst
content
week.
league. Someone smoked you.
Yeah, that dude. I don't even
This
know. He's
guy.
probably some nobody.
This guy.
Yeah, all right.
I might have put up the worst score in the content league this year too in week one. So just for behind the scenes,
Nah,
we're
I was
actually in a
second
league of just
worst.
Aussie content creators for NFL, and I'm pretty sure you must have beaten me, mate. I only threw up.
No,
90.
you
My
beat
team
me,
stunk.
Matty. You beat me. I was second worst. Only dude that was worse was Charlene, the Rams fan from
Yeah,
Fantasy Addicts. So, yeah, he had
Oh,
110.
Charlene.
I had 120. You had like 126. So,
no, okay.
oh god,
It
yeah,
was abysmal.
and I played against Taylor out of all people. So Taylor owns me this week. I shall get revenge.
It
in
might not be the
Astro,
last
hopefully.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
we meet him in Astros later in the year. He could get
Yeah.
ugly.
Let's pray. Let's just pray that Taylor doesn't destroy us in Astro, because that's just
We got a
double.
couple of weeks of pretty good waivers coming up. I think we'll be all right.
Yeah,
Although
and
we
we
managed to
even
not put in a waiver this week, which is great. When you
we
got the third
actually
pick, we
fucked
didn't
up
even put one in.
waivers so badly.
I
We
think you
fucked
and I,
up.
we need to have a board meeting every week and just
Yeah.
work
I
out
had
who's doing
I
what.
did have a question about that. I'm like, you guys are like the one team that lost your quarterback, have no backup, and then went, nah, no waivers this week. We'll be right.
Well,
Yeah,
did you see the
fuck
quarterbacks
waivers.
that got picked up? None.
Yeah, Carson Wentz.
So,
Yeah.
so
Some bomb name.
were we going to use our waiver priority on Carson Wentz? No. We're still the only person who's got a higher priority on anyone who's now submitted to waivers is Seahorse, who's unlikely to use it. But no, we've got a little plan for our quarterback. We just sort of need Dak to get designated IR.
Yes.
That's all we got to do now. We're
Man,
just
I
in
was
the waiting
second.
game.
God damn, I was second last in at least 3 leagues this week. Like, god damn, I was second last in my India dynasty.
Oh, the
No,
famous
not
Indian
dynasty, not
League.
dynasty, not
Oh,
dynasty.
IDP.
It's the redraft. Yeah, it's the
IDP.
redraft.
Yeah.
Not the IDP dynasty league. The redraft with
The
the
redraft.
normal defense. I put up a 77.69, and I had a team with Dak, Eckler, Sutton, Swift, A-Rob, Dawson Knox, Zeke, Prater, the Saints defense. That was my starting team on that league, and I got 77.69. And this
Yeah.
was full PPR. Like, holy
Gee,
shit.
Swift must have half of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a black
Swift was
hole.
28.5 out of 77.69. At least it was a 6.9 at the
Yeah.
end.
It's like 35%.
At
That's
least there was
massive.
Yeah, at least there's a 6.9 at the end there. So
Gronk could be happy about that, mate. And we all,
Yeah. Fuck,
if
I
nothing
could
else, we
start
want Gronk to be happy.
I could have started Gronk and he'd be better than half the team.
I see Taylor's
And I had Michael
DiMaggio likes
Thomas,
picking
man.
a great tight end in starts of the week too continues, but we'll talk about starts of the week
Yeah.
in the late week show as well.
Yeah. On that redraft bench, I had fucking Brandon Cooks, Michael Thomas, and Gabe Davis all sitting on my bench.
Those three scored
and
77
Kareem
between them.
Hunt,
Yeah.
and Kareem Hunt and Daryl Henderson. So I had a better bench than starting team in that league.
Jesus
Like,
Christ.
I am the worst manager ever.
And we all
God
felt
damn.
sad long enough. I mean, Taylor's not
Yeah.
actually over there feeling too sad because, as he said, he handicap peacocked his way to a win. So he's currently
And-
sitting in like 8th or something at the moment.
I thought I finished the week 6-3 in my 9 leagues, and I was feeling pretty good. I won one of my leagues by about 1.5, only for the league to just decide, all right, we're going to rescore all of our defenses, and so I ended up losing
Robbed.
after the fact, like half a day later,
Robbed.
because I was against the Chiefs defense, and that went up like 7 points, and mine only went up like 4.5 or something.
What the
So
heck?
yeah,
Robbed.
it's a weird league. Like the defenses score anywhere from like 15 to 40. Like it's a real weird defensive league. So
Jesus.
Oh,
That's the
I
sort
swear
of league
that
that Seahorse would love.
Oh, that's
Actually.
IDPs for sure. Because I was gonna have freaking losing this league 100%, and then Bradley Chubb went off, and he had a great game, and he scored me like 20 or 25 points, and won me my league along with Javante. Javante, you're still a
Javonte.
god. Fuck the
11
Broncos.
receptions,
Fuck
come
Nathaniel
on.
Hackett.
Mm.
Because
People's
why are you
Di-
playing Melvin Gordon? Okay, anyway.
Melvin.
People's dynasty team had the top scorer in the league, and you get $10 if you get the top scorer in the league. So
Hey.
cha-ching.
Nice.
Wow. Well, that's an eventful week one, fellas. I think
Yeah.
we'll put the cue in the rack on our personal fantasy conquest
Let's
for a
move
minute.
forward for Manjot's sake.
Yeah.
I think so because we clearly what starts the week in the late week show, which I love. It's clearly for me the funnest part because I'm involved in that. The other ones I get to give you guys the work. So we've got the public defender on a bit later and a check in with the doctor, Dr GoodCall, calling by. But what do you reckon we get into the pastry performers for week one?
Yes, sir.
They're so sweet and fresh.
Really?
Yeah. Thanks for calling pastries. Thanks for calling pastries. Pastries. I got all my pastries. Pastries. We get 'em while they hot. We get 'em while they hot. We get 'em while they hot. I got all my pastries and I got 'em while they hot.
We're back with the pastry performer and Manjot Melly. Now, this is a segment that you've created thanks to Pastry Press NFL. This is your world before we all found each other. Isn't that kind of sweet that we all had lives before we found each other?
Yeah. God damn, I only had a few years of experience on there.
Only 5.
Happy. Yeah, only five. I did say that. Now, pastry performer, my signature thing. It actually dates way before I created the name Pastry Press in 2018. It's actually from 2017. And the first ever pastry performer, if I recall correctly, was Tom Brady in Super Bowl 49 when I retroactively commentated that game in 2017. So this is a long and distinguished segment. I even made a pastry performer team of the week for my other new podcast, Good Day Gridiron. You guys can all check that out. That'll be great. I'm feeling very hungry, but I've already had a ton of pastries this week. I had curry pops today. I had croissants today. I had my traditional pastries yesterday on Saturday, which I gave to Matty as well.
I had a famous pastry. Yeah. PPP.
It was good. Pastries with peas and potatoes. That's the triple P.
That's the Irish guys love a bit of potato.
Yeah. And also on Monday, after the Niners lost, my mom was just like, let me make you feel better. So, yeah. Thank gosh. Thank gosh for pastries. Yeah. So, this week, we're diving in. We got the rookie pastry performer. Now, he outdid all the veterans at his position. All the veterans at his position were absolute dog shit, by the way, especially when it came to game-winning kicks. They absolutely shanked everyone. But this one rookie, he deserves Rookie of the Week just for making this kick. I'm, of course, talking about Big Cork Cade York. I'm going to call him Big Cork now because this dude, he absolutely uncorked that one. Damn. He went from right to left to win the game for the Browns. absolutely using the win to his advantage, knocked off Baker Mayfield and the Panthers in that one kick. Veterans like Evan McPherson and Chris Boswell until later. And then
Boink.
Rodrigo Blankenship goggles. They couldn't do that. But the rookie, Cade York, in his first game, just struts up, uncorks a big one. And yeah, big cork York. That's it. He's my rookie.
I've been
Yeah.
thinking about like, so he's the New York in the league. So I've been thinking about
Yeah.
calling him the Big Apple. But
Yeah.
no, I kind of like Big Cork better. Hey, problem about goggles is now he's unemployed. He's going to need his goggles to go scouring the classifieds to find somewhere to work. I'm really pissed about this because
Yeah.
everyone knows my unrequited love for Goggles McGee.
Yeah. God damn.
Every mock draft.
Every mock draft. So,
Every
James
single
Cook and Goggles McGee.
Yeah, James Cook might be looking for a job soon if he keeps fumbling.
They're getting the Connor curse, mate. That's what it is. All right, we've got our rookie in the bookie, and I love that. Cade York, well earned. So who's getting more pastries here, Manjot?
Oh yeah, I'm just eating at them. So we're gonna jump into some of the offensive pastry performers. AFC, no surprises here. He threw for 600, sorry, not 600 yards. He threw for 360 yards and 5 touchdowns. It could have been 600 yards. It's Patrick Mahomes. He was dicing the shit out of that Cardinals defense. Like, god dang. He didn't even need Tyreek. Tyreek Hill, who? It didn't matter because that dude was just absolutely balling. I absolutely love this dude, Mahomes. Him and Kelsey have this great connection. And oh goodness, it was just
Is
great.
that the guy that's going to be outside the top 10 in quarterback this year? Manjot?
Yeah, apparently, according to everyone's favorite analyst, yes, he was meant to be.
Because he's going to be in a tier of his own, and one will start after him. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to finish off the AFC awards and do the AFC Defensive Pastry Performer.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm going Khalil Mack. He had 3 sacks on his old team, the Raiders. I could have given it to Minka Fitzpatrick as well. It was a very close vote between those two. But I think Khalil Mack just edges him out. I think Minka had a bit of a bigger impact, but I've got to go with Khalil Mack because I think the Chargers defense was very underrated. Khalil Mack definitely, I would say, had a little bit more impact on the stat sheet than Minka. So just going with Khalil Mack there. Now we're going to the NFC side of things. I'm going to go NFC defensive first. Now his team got absolutely blown the hell out. They didn't even score a touchdown, the only team in the league. But Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons absolutely balled out. If anyone was trying to carry their team, it was Micah Parsons, because how the hell did the Buccaneers score only 19 points on Sunday Night Football?
One touchdown. They could have had 6. Like,
they could have put up 30. I said on Good A Grind, they could have put up 30 more points than they had. So there you go. Micah Parsons, I think, absolutely deserves that one. And
it's tough to say a team got blown out when your opponent only scores 19 as well. But I mean, do you remember when the Seahawks used to be able to embarrass you by beating in 19-3? And it's like that was the Seahawks. That was like a statement Seahawks kind of game. And that's how they would embarrass you. It's not like the Saints who'd run up 65 or whatever. But yeah, poor old. I don't know. Did you say poor Cowboys? Is that a thing that you're allowed to say? I feel like I might get
poor
arrested.
Dak, because he was on the Western rankings. But yeah, look, our NFC offensive pastry performer of the week. I think we all know who this got to be.
Trey Lance.
yeah, it was definitely Trey Lance.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think Taylor absolutely nails it on the head with his background. The dude who does 2 gritties in the game. The Packers left him wide open. 9 catches, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. The best receiver in the league, in my opinion, Justin Jefferson. He was absolutely cooking the Packers defense, and he deserves the title best in the league. Deserves the title of NFC Offensive Pastry Performer. There you go. And to add on to that, my first ever fantasy pastry performer of the week. That's why it's on Aussie NFL Fantasy as well. We need the fantasy football pastry performer of the week. He cooked me in absolutely every league that I didn't have him. but when I had him, I was happy. Yes, Justin Jefferson again, just in case you guys didn't get the segue fully. But yeah, Justin Jefferson absolutely cooked me. Taylor had him against me, and yeah, I had to give it to him. It was between him or Cooper Cup because whoever was going to be the better receiver and won the matchup between me and Taylor would win that award. And I had to give it to Jefferson. So yeah, fantasy patient performer to Jefferson.
And he smacked that ass, son.
Yes, he did.
Damn,
He smacked
boy.
my ass. Son. He smacked my ass.
There was some asses smacked. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Some serious
Uh,
Oh,
asses.
he would have smacked. He would have smacked a Green Bay defensive player's ass, but there was none around him.
Yeah.
How often did you just sort of find the ball getting to him and you look around after he's caught it and there's just no one near him? Does anyone know who this guy is?
He took a backward step once because he thought there must have been someone behind him, and then he realized, oh shit, I can keep running.
Yeah, he's like, oh, there's actually no one there. It was mind-boggling. I just don't understand how you can leave clearly the most explosive player for the other team. Anyone else would go, you know what we'll do? We'll roll coverage there and we'll double the guy. No, not Green Bay. No.
And Jair Alexander, one of the best corners in the league, just couldn't keep up at all day. Justin Jefferson absolutely cooked him, cooked the rest of the Packers defense.
It's what they were like.
Worthy.
Well, they've only gone to they've gone to Jefferson 12 times in a row here. So I reckon let's guard Thielen and Osborne because I reckon that we'll try and play checkers to their chest. Like, you know, we'll try and get in front of them because they're going to go to one of those guys eventually.
One of these days.
So we'll just keep defending those two.
So this is like that thing where if you toss a coin in the air, no matter how many times it lands heads, the next time you flip it, there's still just as much chance for it to land heads again, right?
Exactly.
You can't apply that. Like it's still 50-50 every time you throw the coin. Just because you got 11 in a row doesn't mean the 12th one's any different.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got it. There's context. There's context, Packers. Anyway.
Yeah.
That was extraordinary.
So,
I think we got some worthy pastry winners there.
Oh, wait. We didn't
You got a big
finish off.
finish?
Yeah, we got the Pastry Performer of the Week, the biggest award you can get every week.
Yeah.
Pastries delivered straight from me. Now it's a toss-up between these two, Patrick Mahomes and Justin Jefferson. Of course, the offensive Pastry Performers for their conferences, respectively. Who would you guys pick as Pastry Performer of the Week?
I'd probably go Jeff. It is tough. It actually is.
One
really
guy threw
hard.
5 touchdowns on opening day. It's hard to go by, isn't it? On the road.
Yeah, you're probably right. Because a lot of people had question marks about that Chiefs offense this year without Tyreek Hill, and Patty Mahomes had a bit of a chip on his shoulder. So, yeah, honestly, I probably might lean Mahomes actually because it was a little bit of a.
The other guy had 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh my god!
We talked about flipping a coin. We might as well flip a coin for this one.
Yeah,
I honestly, this is like when they say, "So, which one's your favorite child?" And you go, "Well,
yeah,
you know,
you can't.
you're not
Can't
allowed to
choose.
say.
Although
Even
that
if you do have an
Arizona-
answer, you're not allowed to say."
That Arizona defense is a piece of ass, though. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what we're meant to expect this year? Are they just going to try and outscore everybody instead of try and defend anybody? Is that the strategy?
So they'll get down by 30, and then they'll score the last 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
So the big reveal, I did go with Mahomes as my
Yeah, fair
Pastry
enough.
Performer of the Week. You can't go past the guy for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to Jefferson. He's my boy. I still love you, Justin Jefferson. And I did put you as my first ever offensive Pastry Performer Rookie of the Year in 2020, along with Justin Herbert. So the 2 Justins there. But Patrick Mahomes, he had to get the gong here. Enjoy your delicious pastries with peas and potatoes. They'll be delivered straight to your mansion in Kansas City. You know, Brittany, Jackson Mahomes, you guys can have some too.
Don't give it to Jackson.
Put them
That guy, fuck him.
No, free TikTok promotion. You guys got to give free TikTok promotion to Aussie NFL Fantasy.
Yeah,
even
fine.
pastry
We'll give some to
press as
Juju
well.
then too. Why not?
Yeah, Juju, you can have some just for catching a few balls. Kelsey, you get some. Everyone gets pastries in Kansas City this week.
I got all my pastries. Wow. That's a pretty big segment to start off with. All those pastries getting around. And man, yeah, it's hard to go
My
past 5
tummy is
touchdowns on the
rumbling.
road, isn't it? It's hard.
Yeah.
I think it's probably time that we had a check-in with the doctor. What do you think? I'm pumped to see the doctor.
Just want to hear that drop again.
I'm going to bring it up. Fuck it. I'm going to do it.
In today's busy world, it's hard to have it all. Who has time to do all the analysis and decision making for your fantasy team? Probably not you, but we can help. Whether it's positively diagnosing players with fantasy leprosy, or helping you find the players who are on the verge of being fantasy legendary. There's only one name in all of fantasy you can really trust. Make an appointment with Dr. GoodCall.
That's one of my best
Photo at
photos.
the end makes it all.
It's one of my best.
Gets me every time.
I'm
I
gonna
love
start-
watching the YouTube
I'm
show.
gonna start wearing a doctor's coat. To the
You
podcast.
should, man. I've been wearing a
Yeah.
blazer for all my fantasy football network stuff, and I fucking feel like the king. I do. I'm talking about the team least people care about, and I'm the most dodgy foreigner any of these people could ever listen to. So I know no one's paying a lot of attention to me, but man, I feel like $1 million. I reckon you should.
Sounds good, mate.
That's what you've got. Well, thanks for the glowing, resounding support for my idea, mate. Thanks. Cheers.
That's about how much support I normally show you. So I figured I'd stick to what I normally do best. But yeah, we'll take a look at last week's Dr. GoodCall. Manjot obviously liked him because he went for a couple on his starts of the week.
Actually, while we're at it, I'll bring up his starts of the week team because that's pretty much just your Dr. GoodCall.
Hey, you took one too, didn't you, Matty C?
Yeah, he did. He took a good one.
Okay.
He took one of the good ones.
he
I'm
took the
flinging
good
the
one.
poo. Okay, I'm just playing.
It was basically hit miss, and yeah. So obviously, a quarterback. I took Jameis. It was looking pretty dodgy for basically a half.
Yeah.
And then he came out obviously behind to the Falcons and found Michael Thomas a couple of times, and obviously that helped Matty as well. But yeah, I was pretty happy with Jameis and how he went. He looked pretty good. I think that offense is going to be a lot better than last year. So yeah, he was just over 21 points. So I definitely see that as a win, considering I'm looking at guys that are a little bit lower. So yeah, I saw that as a win. Obviously, running back was tough, as Manjot found out. Obviously, Eli Mitchell going down the missile. He was sent a dismissal, obviously, and
Yeah.
went off the field. So
Yeah. Fuck
and
the play. Fuck the
sucked.
football.
Yeah, he's only on just over 4 points. He was looking pretty good, even though it was just an absolute slosh pit in that game against the
Cost
Bears.
me to
But
win.
I think he was in a 10 points at least, because he would have just kept running the ball in that game. So that was tough, but again, that's fantasy football. You got to
Yeah,
take
it is.
losses.
Yeah.
Wide receiver was a weird one. No one on the Chiefs really stood up.
Yeah.
I mean, Juju was the best, but he still wasn't phenomenal. I just took a shot on MVS. Maybe this would have been the breakout game, and I was right that the Cardinals' defense would be absolutely dog shit, but it just got spread around too much. And obviously, Kelsey got his, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire caught 2 touchdowns, which was quite amazing. But MVS finished on just over 6 points, so it wasn't a goose or anything, but I wouldn't consider it a win or anything. But tight end was an interesting one. I was pretty happy to get this for Dr. GoodCall with Gerald Everett, because tight end, I know I talk about how bad it is, but it was unbelievably bad this week. Like, the amount of people goosing and just getting like one catch was just even more than normal. It was insane. And to get Gerald Everett score a bit over 14 points was actually enormous. I think he ended up tight end 4 or 5 on the week. So I was pretty happy with that for Dr. GoodCall. So yeah, a couple of hits, couple of misses. Pretty happy with that.
You've definitely thrown the tight end monkey off your back when it comes to this segment. In previous years, where you've had a bit of a punt on tight ends, has been just nothing but famine and cancer. And so for you to come back roaring with one, Gerald fucking Everett, like, you can't stick your neck out much more than I'm taking Gerald Everett straight out of the gate. And for him to throw up, I don't know, he was the highest scoring player in the Western Wankers on the weekend, which is a horrifying thing to admit. So
your tight ends
Bravo.
stopping your week, you're in all sorts.
Yeah, bravo. I mean, it's not so bad when it's Kelsey, I guess, because he can do that. But when it's Gerald Everett,
our team read like a cricket score when I think it was Australia and England, and Australia
Oh.
got bowled out for like 56. And yeah, I think it read out exactly like that, where one of the lower order guys got 13 and the rest got like single digits. That was our team,
Disgusting.
basically.
Yeah, it was bubbly sewage, basically.
Yeah.
And I was just smooth sewage, just a bit better than you. So let's
Smooth sewerage.
I'm a bit of smooth sewage, mate.
That's going in a drop.
If I don't know what a segue is for that, this guy has been smooth sewage in the past, so I guess that's the one year.
Sure it
So
is.
I'll go to Dr GoodCall for this week, and I'll prescribe a QB. I might as well just put him on a Manjot's team. But I don't know
Yeah.
if he'll take this one. It's a little bit out there, as I'd like to do. So
Oh, cool.
I'm
I'm
gonna-
sitting up, paying attention now.
I'm going to take Jared Goff here. So
Oh, yes.
again, taking people against the Commanders is often something that I like to do. And even though Lawrence, as we'll find out later, didn't exactly dominate, he was fine. Like, the Commanders' defense wasn't really doing anything to stop him. So Commanders were last against the quarterback position in 2021. I've mentioned I'll probably use 2021 data up till about week 5, and then I'll start just using the yearly stuff because then it's a big enough sample. And as I've mentioned, I like doing the PFF ranks of secondaries and defensive lines and stuff because I think that's what you can use to actually see what the team might be like this year. Because if you're going just off last year's data and all of a sudden the defense got way better, then there's no point using last year's data. So I kind of like to use both. And they're the 24th ranked secondary in 2022 per PFF. So they're not exactly expected to be much better against the quarterback position this year. So, and yet, look, 215 yards and 2 touchdowns in week 1. It's not a bad effort, Jared Goff, and I can see him having something similar, if not a little bit better this week. So he's the quarterback for Dr. GoodCall this week.
Manjot, what do you say to this?
I'm loving it. I was high on Jared Goff. He had a good week 1 too, and very underrated. I was talking him up on Good Day Gridiron as well. Very, very good QB, I reckon.
We were talking about him in the boardroom a bit earlier in the week too. After we saw Dak go down, we immediately started looking at who else is out there, and we just had a look at who's got what matchups coming up. And actually, depending on your league, it would take desperation like we've got in a league the size we are. But that's where we're at. Is Jared Goff was not a swear word in our meeting.
Yeah,
I like his weapons this year too. Well, I think he's got a better offense around him this year. So, I think he's a decent player this year, especially in a 16-team league. So, he's definitely the kind of guys we're looking for in this segment. So, I just thought I'd
and garbage time. Look,
if you did
Stafford,
lose Dak in a 10-team league, you may not be doing this, but maybe you are because, well, fuck it, you don't know who's hoarding second quarterbacks, and you may get this desperate. And if you are looking for a big upside swing, oh man, I mean, we talked about it. So yeah, you got my stunning recommendation on this one.
I'm actually playing. I'm going to play him over Tour in the Dynasty League, my People's Dynasty. So I've got Jalen Hurts, who I'm probably never going to not start, and it's 2 quarterback league. And so I've got Tua there as my second quarterback, who I reckon I'll probably play most weeks. I'm a little bit worried about his matchup against the Ravens in Baltimore. And like I said, the Jared Goff's got an awesome, matchup against the Commanders. So I'm actually deciding to play Goff over Tua. It could bite me in the ass pretty much every time I do something like this. It always does. But that's why I do this segment, because I feel like it can unearth some guys you haven't been thinking of that might have a better matchup than you realise. So my running back this week, he's basically someone I really wanted to shout out because he was just getting destroyed in drafts this entire preseason. And I actually brought him up as a candidate to have a really good game last week. It's Antonio Gibson. So obviously what happened with Robinson was devastating, and like we all hope that he gets better soon. But in the end, like, we do talk fantasy, and we don't wish that upon anyone, but in the end you have to look at the facts and say, well, this is actually an opportunity for Antonio Gibson to get that spot back. Like he clearly looked like he was losing it to Robinson in the preseason. And he's got it now, and he couldn't have really asked for 2 better matchups to start his season. I thought he was a very good candidate to have a great game last week, which he did. against the Jags. He was huge in the passing game, which
Yeah.
we've all been for ages. He had I think it was 7 for 60 odd he had in the passing game. So that was enormous. He had 130 all-purpose yards, and he's up against this is the biggest part. He's up against the Lions, so it's the same game. They are 31st against running back in 2021, and they have the 26th ranked D line for 2022 per PFF. And I don't know if any of you guys saw that Eagles game, but literally everyone who plays running back got in for a touchdown against that Lions team.
Fuck,
And
Hurts had 10 for 97 rushing yards and a touchdown. So that shows
honestly, it was the Oprah meme. It was you get a touchdown and you get a touchdown and you get a touchdown. Like it actually destroyed Jalen. Jalen Hurts could have actually had a way better game, but he just kept handing off to basically every running back they found off the streets. So I just think this could be an awesome opportunity for Antonio Gibson to stamp his hand or stamp his foot maybe on this
stamp his
running back
stamp?
position. Stamp his stamp. You know, it's my thesaurus again going to work. But,
terrible.
Yeah, I think he's in for a good week this week again. So I think most running backs will have a good week against the Lions this year. So yeah.
I mean, gee, we were talking about how much we really were nervous about Antonio Gibson in the late part of the preseason before the Brian Robinson incident where he was hurt in that hold up, and then all of a sudden with that, it's like, wow, that ADP is just ridiculously good value. Because again, the human element is out the window as soon as you start talking about the X's and O's and the fantasy part. And as you said, you'd never wish anyone any harm. But then the implications of that are someone picks up the work. And man, it just made Antonio Gibson too good to turn down. And I love this call. I mean, I never agreed with you so much in my life. I think I'm going to need a shower in a minute.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, I'm feeling out of sort. Manjot, please take over for me while I quickly vomit.
I took a shower before the show, Matty. So that's what you should have done.
Mate, next week.
Yeah,
even the love of the Jags jersey protecting me. Maybe that's why I'm being so agreeable, because I've got the jerseys warming me from the inside out.
Yeah, I do like this call as well. I love old Dr. GoodCall's calls. I swear, I've never disagreed
He's
with
just
Dr.
putting him into his
GoodCall.
starts of the week's column now. Taylor, he's just filling it up.
He's just sucking up to him for his prescription pad.
Look, I I hate Antonio Gibson's fantasy stock, as in his ADP was too high at the start of preseason. But now I can see why he's a better player. He's definitely a guy that's a lot more underrated than he used to be. He used to be a lot overrated. Now he's so overrated, he's underrated, and he's coming through the radar. I think he can really run through that Lions defense. I mean, they don't really have established middle linebacker at all to take all the tackles. They don't have really that much beef inside in the interior defensive line. And I think the Washington Commanders O-line is actually pretty good. So yeah, I think I can take this call as much as I hate Gibson.
All right, write it down. Get ready to take it and start to the week. Tate.
I got him in the ninth round in one league. I remember actually writing that to you guys.
Yeah,
and you were like, it's just gone too far. Because and that was with the news of Robinson already too. Like I picked him up knowing the news.
Like, it was like 3 days after or something too. It just took so much time for things to correct.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. My wide receiver, so it's basically someone again who was sort of being left for dead, basically because of a new arrival. He was a bit of a breakout star last year, looks like an accountant, and he didn't have the best week one, but I think that's going to correct itself this week a bit in terms of targets, and he gets an absolutely phenomenal matchup, and it's Hunter Renfrow up against the Cardinals. As I mentioned, 29th against wide receiver in 2021 and 27th ranked secondary per PFF, which honestly I think is going to turn into 32nd because after what I saw against Chiefs, no, it was Mahomes, but they just absolutely lit them up, and I think it's going to continue to happen in this game. Can see it being high scoring. Renfrow, we all know about his routes. They're silky smooth for a guy who looks like he's an accountant. He kind of reminds me of Cam Smith in the NRL. Somehow doesn't look like he should be playing football, but he just gets it done. So I could imagine even though you've got Adams there, obviously soaking up a lot of targets, and you've got Waller. But I just think he's going to be a little bit of the forgotten man this week, and I actually think it's going to actually help him out. And they're going to, not that they're going to be able to stop Adams either, but I think there's just going to be that many points in this game that I think there's a huge chance of him getting a touchdown. And you could see if he gets anywhere near his 9-10 targets, I think he could do a lot with it this week. And there's going to be so many red zone looks. So, yeah, I think those numbers are enough for me. So I'm putting Hunter Renfro as Dr. GoodCall's wide receiver.
Oh.
Manjot, you would love to see anyone score a lot of points against the Cardinals, being in division with your beloved Niners. You're going to celebrate this. You're going to do a round of applause for Talor, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I can see this be 15 plus points for Renfro.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing. Because if he's getting a touchdown, that's an easy 15. If this is PPR and he's getting 9 to 10 targets, easy 15. That's a safe play, good flex play, I reckon. Don't take too many targets from Adams, though. I literally just selected him in the Instagram Eliminator League, where you have to select non-QBs every week to get you points. So the least amount of points gets eliminated. So I just took Adams. So Adams,
that's as safe as houses, brother.
Yeah,
especially in this matchup.
Yeah,
I mean, in any matchup, he'd be fine. But
let's hope he doesn't get injured like Keenan did and almost eliminated
up.
me. Yeah, my boy Keenan Allen. Yeah.
Yeah, friend of the podcast, Keenan Allen.
Yeah. He was absolutely dominating too. 4 for 66 in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
He was looking great.
Yeah, the ball had only just been kicked off and he already had 4 for 66.
Yeah.
I had 2 things to add here too. I think there's a chance that for the first time in history, PFF will grade a defense 40th.
Out of 32, yeah.
But secondly, why do you hate Devontae Adams, Tay?
It's like there's eight Canadian Football League teams that are better than them.
Probably, yeah. And I mean, there's only 9 teams in that comp, so the BC Lions really stink, apparently.
Yeah, the Rough Riders. They'll be getting rough ridden this week. The Cardinals, I can tell you that.
I hate this because I agree with you on this again, and I'm just reading down the guys I've got picked for fellas who I should look at for starts of the week, and you just keep on mentioning guys on my list, and I'm just going to look like a thief.
Well, the tight end won't be. So this guy actually is ineligible for our actual game at the end, but he's a guy that people have been worried about starting, especially he kind of came into last week under a pretty big injury cloud. I'm gonna take him in this segment because I think people are still a little bit concerned about playing him. And Zach Ertz, obviously up against the Raiders, 30th against tight end, as we just saw last week with Gerald Everett. I just think he didn't get many targets, and he clearly didn't look him. I say look himself. He's not exactly a, peak physical athlete as it is, but I think he's going to get only better coming off that calf injury this week. And with that matchup, I think it's quite juicy. So I think for anyone who went and got another option, if they got Zach Ertz in the team, or if maybe they put him to the waiver wire because they like someone else and they saw he was injured, I think he's a very good play this week in a very high-scoring game, as I've mentioned a few times already.
Manjot's nodding there. He's happy with this.
Yeah, I like this pick. Now, I was expecting this. I was just seeing Zach Ertz playing against the Raiders, who literally just gave up 13 points to Gerald Everett. And
Raiders are tight end deniers. That's the thing. They just believe tight end doesn't exist.
Yeah. And we all do. I feel the same way.
What is it? What even is it? Yeah. Sorry, Manjot, you were saying about tight ends.
Yeah, and I was actually just seeing in our Aussie content team league, he's on the waiver wire, literally. So he's just getting dropped everywhere. And yeah.
That's why I thought it was worth it. Like he doesn't quite fit the outside the top 15 for the game. So like I don't essentially say that Dr. GoodCalls have to be in that range that we play the starts of the week at, but I like to be guys that you don't 100% know. Like I've said, I don't want to be picking Jonathan Taylor against the Jets. Do
you reckon you would start him in that scenario?
Fuck me.
Jets are dominant.
Probably not. I don't know. Do you remember that time he was up against like the all-conquering Bills defense and he only scored 5 touchdowns?
Yeah. That was that just after you called him as a sell low candidate or sell high?
I'm
or
like,
whatever
oh,
it
the
was?
guy's at 30. Sell him now. You'll never get more than 30 for him.
It's terrible. All right, we move into a fantasy AIDS player, and this one is interesting, right? It's more to do with the matchup more so than the player, and it's someone that I think is going to entice us to have a chat. Like, I don't think it's going to be someone you straight away think, oh, I 100% agree, because he's on your team. He's on the Western Wankers, and he's on Matty's favorite NFL team. I'm saying Travis Etienne is an avoid this week up against the Colts D line. I'm worried about his 6 opportunities in week 1. I know he dropped an absolute bare naked bloody touchdown, and we'd be having a different conversation if he did. But it does worry me about James Robinson's workload that quickly, because to me, coming off that Achilles, he's only going to get worked in more. It's not going to be less. So the fact it was like that from week 1 definitely worries me. Like I said, clear committee against a great rushing D who are ranked 5 at stopping the run last season. I understand that ETN can catch the ball, but 2 receptions in week 1 in essentially his rookie season doesn't fill me with a huge amount of confidence. And there's every chance that Robinson is the beneficiary of the passing work from the backfield anyway. What worries me is if there was full confidence in ETN, I don't think they would have rushed J-Rob back. So I have my concerns.
Interesting. And honestly, I was having concerns during that middle of the game. I was watching in a red zone. I saw him drop that wide open touchdown. I told Matty, I was just like, yeah, this guy is really selling us. It was just not my week in fantasy at all.
He was so mad. Can you imagine Manjot actually really angry and not like character angry? He was actually angry.
Look, I wasn't as pissed as I was yesterday, which was Tuesday, when I was watching freaking Melvin Gordon get all the carries instead of Javonte. But seriously though, ETN should have caught that. Just simple signs like that can get you benched. Honestly, in the NFL, you can get benched just for dropping a touchdown.
When there's a great option like Robinson next to him as well.
100%.
And that's just my concern. I'm not sitting here trying to say Etienne's like a fade for the whole rest of the season or anything. This game in particular is a bit of a fade for me because I want to see what his production is like this week, and not so much just his production, but the opportunities he gets. Like, did he sort of, because he dropped that, did they then sort of put him in the doghouse a little bit, and that's why he got 6? And they're gonna look at it this week and go, all right, we should be giving him more than 6 opportunities, and then all of a sudden it corrects itself and he gets 12 or 13 this week. Then I'll be able to have a bit more confidence in ETN moving forward. I just need to see it. And the fact is, if he gets only 6 opportunities against this Colts defense, this Colts D-line anyway, I just don't see it being really fruitful this week. And then obviously you've got Robinson there, who just seems to he doesn't give a shit about all the stats that say coming off an Achilles is terrible. He's the anti-Cam Akers, apparently.
No takers for Cam Akers. Mate, I'm glad this is the conversation we're having because I get to play devil's advocate a little bit here.
Yeah.
And you knew I would, because I can't agree with you for 7 in a row. I mean, Jesus Christ. You could have said, Josh Allen is going to have a great week, and I'd be like, no, he fucking isn't. I think the guy averaged 12 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And he's a little bit of, everyone has a bit of a howler every so often away from just having a completely different day. And I'm not terribly concerned about it because one guy in that offense is completely disposable who came along as part of two different regimes ago. And that regime 2 ago got him for free. And this guy's a first-round pick who they need to work. So am I concerned? No. Do I get why everyone thinks the plates are wobbling? Yeah. This is 100% we just going off of the ETN or something. Yeah, just honestly, do it because of Taylor saying things like this. You just go, thank you for saying this because I don't believe it's all true. And I'm glad someone's saying it because it just gives me the purchase opportunity to come in and go, oh, do you believe this guy? Okay, well, I'll offer you. What do you need? Okay, I'll give you this guy who's in the 30s at running back for this guy you don't believe in, he's just got miles of opportunity. No troubles.
And I don't have an issue with that. And that's why I'm trying to say this is more of an avoid for this specific week than for an entire season. Because like I said, he
I get
could
that.
come out and have a way bigger part of this offense this week. And then even if he doesn't have an awesome fantasy game, if you see him have 14 opportunities, and because it's against a very good D line, he might only have 4 yards per carry instead of 12 like he had against the Commanders.
Oh, yeah.
You'll actually feel better about that because you'll feel like
Just
he's
see the
going to be a
opportunity.
part of the
Yeah.
offense moving forward. So again, for me, it's more of I need to see him have more than 6 opportunities, and I'm worried that even if he has a few more than 6 against that D line, it's not going to be fruitful for fantasy for this week. But I'm not saying sound a huge panic alarm if you have ETN. I just think it's a bit of a worry this week specifically.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say I'm thinking of setting him over Christian Kirk. Might take that decision.
I
automatically.
actually like it.
We may end up doing that, yeah.
Yeah,
I
think.
And this is a
pretty
weekly
wide
segment.
receiver.
It's a weekly segment. You're analyzing what's in front of you for week 2. It's hard not to understand what you're saying there and look at it and go, I can see the logic.
It's hard not to play Kirk. He looked great in week 1.
Yeah. He did.
And he gets a better matchup.
All of those Jags receivers, both the Joneses even looked all right. What the hell? I mean, he can't start the other 2. But I was thinking through the week in the lead up to, would it surprise me if Marvin Jones ended up with the touchdown and scored more points than Christian Kirk? No. But, one of them's ranked 35 to 46, and the other one's ranked 60 to 71.
Exactly.
You'll never know who to start.
That's it. All right. Well, that's the end of Dr. GoodCall for week 2.
Oh, yeah. So, how many Antonio Gibsons do I take at what time of day? I just need to make sure I get the prescription pad right because I'm going to go and make some offers.
So, mate, get as much into you as you can because he's going to have that many touchdowns against that shithouse Lions there. D. So, mate, as many as you can, just pop them. Pop
with
them
meals, every meal. Just have it with food. Yeah, okay, got it. What a great thing. I love this. We'll work in more really crappy puns as we go. What do you reckon? You got a couple of dads on the panel?
I'll just say too, because of the whole AIDS thing, the idea is that I should be prescribing. I would just be like Manjot said, if there's another option at your flex, like if ETN's your running back 2 and you don't have a good option, just you plain. Like I'm not saying that you should be chucking just some absolute sack of shit in there just because I'm saying that ETN might struggle this week. But if you've got an option at a flex like Christian Kirk or someone who projects to have a better matchup, then that's what I'm saying is that I'm a little bit worried about him this week. But just monitor his usage this week and play a guy like Christian Kirk. Basically, what I just said for like 5 minutes was I'm basically saying that against wankers like Matty C. Like he's the epitome of the people that I was trying to talk down in my little segment there. So
I do like that Talor keeps me accountable even if he's wrong a lot of the time. But now I can't even say that because it turns out he's right a lot.
Whether your fantasy team has been robbed of fantasy points by a star player laying a total egg, or you've been the victim to a high-risk player being injured at work, you need the right advice. There is only one place to go when your team or your player need representation in the court of public opinion. Make time with Manjot Melly, Public Defender.
It is a great picture, by the way. Manjot's looking very official.
Yeah.
One
day they'll actually be me in the freaking courtroom.
Well, I hope that you're defending people who aren't in this much trouble because, there are some criminal underperformances around the league this week.
Yeah, where do we
Holy
begin?
shit, my phone was blowing up.
What's on the docket?
All of the players wanted me to defend them.
I think we brought 30 odd and we had to narrow it down.
We've got them all in the courtroom today.
Yeah, goddamn. I hope it's the magistrate's court, just give them a drink driving charge and go off 5 minutes a hearing. Like, holy shit, this is going to be a long ass segment. This is a full Supreme Court or High Court case. Like, goddamn. That would be a long ass segment.
I've got this image in my head now after Talor says that of that scene in The Simpsons where it's like they're charging Homer with having like overeaten at the all you can eat at the sea shanty. They're bringing bag after bag after bag.
Bring it in, boys.
So that's the lineup of players Talor and I had to shortlist, and then we had to grade them, and we came up with one who we think that Manjot needs to defend. Tay, this segment worked so well when you led it last week, and I like that you're the lead on this. You're the lead of the prosecution. Who are we bringing forward? What are we charging him with?
Mate, you've caught me off guard because I have no idea who we even ended up picking. Because I felt like we brought up about 100 people, and then I kept saying one, and then I never actually saw us make a decision. I really was hoping that my fellow lawyer would just actually say the name so I could straight away start talking. But I've obviously
trying to make you sound smart.
Manjot's one already because we're not. I don't even
You
know.
guys aren't even prepared.
Prosecution doesn't even know who
that was part of the plan.
They bring a guy out into the dock and we're like, who the fuck's that? Why the hell is Jonas Gray here?
My webcam just died. Sorry, guys.
Oh no, you're all right, mate. You get yourself sorted. And while we're doing that, we're gonna just quickly say, mate, you could have taken pretty well any of the disgraceful players from that Green Bay side, not named AJ Dillon. You could have taken, well, any pick of a bunch of quarterbacks. You could take a pick from all over the league. It turns out you could have taken Rodrigo Blankenship and you probably would have been safe too. But we talked really strongly about Allen Robinson.
I thought it was that.
And, and Taylor thought that it was going to be Allen Robinson who comes out from behind door number 1. And here he is, Allen Robinson in flesh.
It was actually going to be Mike Williams. He was also in contention, but he played on Thursday night, so it was too short of notice for the court case. It has to be adjourned until next week if it's not resolved in the football field.
Yeah, we'll give him a a summary dismissal or the summary discharge?
Summary disposal, yeah.
Disposal. Definitely. We'll give Mike Williams that. I mean, his starting percentage was over 90%, and that is heinous for a guy who was getting drafted where he was, being started at the level he was, and only put up 3 points in full PPR after Keenan Allen got hurt too. Like, he just had everything fall in his favor and he couldn't do it. But yeah, it's the Thursday night thing. We think that it's probably more fair to talk about a player who's got a weekend game, and Allen Robinson was easily the second most embarrassing in that respect, in terms of wide receivers, especially because it was meant to be the coming out for him. He was going to be filling in the old Odell Beckham role. This was going to be the first time we saw Allen Robinson with a serviceable quarterback, and now even that's in question. You could have brought Matt Stafford. In fact, I think he's up next. It was an embarrassment of riches for the Rams, who should have been really tough and strong at home, with probably one of the better offenses they've been able to bring for a long time. And they just looked out of water. Taylor, do you want to add anything to the fire here about Allen Robinson? Because no one's more disappointed than me, knowing he's a former Jaguar who was out there. And I don't know, wherever he goes, I'm still going to think of him as a bit of a Jag in there. And he was, he was embarrassing.
Judge, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and everyone else in the courtroom, I'm here today to talk about this man, Allen Robinson. This person over on the other side who calls himself the myth, the legend, this guy is just a myth. He was absolutely dog turd last year. I've heard, I knew people, myself included, who took this man in the second round of fantasy drafts. I put it to you, everyone in this courtroom. Has there ever been a bigger bust in fantasy football ever? Have you ever seen a person taken in the second round that was legitimately unplayable for basically the entire season? He was on waiver wire in a 16-team league. A 16-team league, Your Honor. Absolute dog shit. And I'm using that word, well, as it's meant to be. He was dog shit. He was terrible. We could blame Justin Fields. We can blame the Bears. But the fact was, he just got absolutely nothing done. He took the end of the year off too, because he was like, well, I'm going to try and get myself a better quarterback. And all I've heard this guy's career is, he's going to be so good when he gets a quarterback. He is going to be absolutely dominant when he gets, someone that's a bit better than the absolute turds that they've been throwing to him. Well, maybe he's the turd, people. Maybe he's the turd. Because I've just seen him come up with, I don't know, maybe the Super Bowl winning quarterback from last year. And what does he throw up? One catch. He had 2 targets, and the second target was literally the last play of the game. He was deplorable. He got nothing done. He looked exactly like the Allen Robinson we saw last year. I put it to you that this guy is absolutely toast, Your Honor. Absolute toast. He's like Eli Apple, burnt toast. I rest my case.
Wow. Oh, mate, the voice of public opinion is definitely being represented there. I think that there is There's a lot of noise outside the
There's a lot
courtroom.
to unpack there.
Yeah.
I
Your witness.
just passed out. I just passed out. I don't even know what I just said. So
It was a blur.
I'm interested to get that back.
All right, your witness. Your witness.
Oh, is this me? I'm the public defender. I'm the public defender. I'm not the witness.
Yeah, I know. I was rattled by
No,
that.
no,
But
defense rests.
he's the. The
You guys are the
prosecution rests.
prosecution.
The prosecution rests, mate.
Yeah, prosecution.
All right, I'm going to stay away from talking about sides. So I said, your witness.
All right. All right. So, me as the public defender, I have looked
Good
through
luck, by the
all
way.
of the allegations that have been put out by the
A
prosecution.
lot of dog
And-
shit on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of dog shit, I heard. But look, Your Honor, there was cases where Stafford was accused of even being racist
Yeah.
by meme pages. Ghetto Gronk, NFL Memes IG, Canadian Cutler, all of those big meme pages, they all put out their accusations. They're all witnesses to this. There could be cases of racism here. And I'm not even going to deny these allegations. Apparently, these are very valid allegations. Meme pages are saying this to hundreds of thousands of followers. So I think there's a good enough case there. We might have to put in a racial discrimination lawsuit, Your Honor. Also, we'd like to say Cooper Cup was definitely being targeted way too much. Stafford has some sort of love affair with Cooper Cup. The amount of times he was staring in Cooper Cup's eyes the whole game, Your Honor, it was deplorable. He even did a no-look past the Cup when he could have thrown to a wide open Allen Robinson, Your Honor. It wasn't even Allen Robinson's fault at all. Robinson, this dude was literally getting open and open and open, Your Honor. He might suck a little bit against zone defenses like the Bills, but look, against man coverage, he's the man. All that stuff last year Taylor was mentioning about, that was last year. He was playing for a rookie quarterback with the worst O-line in the history of the National Football League, Your Honor. I'm going to put that allegation out there because it was absolute dog shit. If he can use dog shit, if your prosecution can use dog shit, Your Honor, then
Multiple
I
times.
can too. Multiple times. Yes, me too. Me too.
Objection. As a Jaguars fan, I've seen some pretty bad O-lines.
Yeah. And he played with Blake Bortles. And
Objection, Joe Burrow, who's entered the chat.
The Super Bowl Joe Burrow.
Look, Stafford is a lot better than Justin Fields. They just need time for that chemistry to really sizzle. It took Cooper Kupp maybe a few weeks to really get into that full form. But hey, look, he worked out. So why can't Jefferson? It took OBJ a couple of weeks to work it out with Stafford, and yet he still won a ring. He almost won Super Bowl MVP if he stayed healthy that whole game. So just let it settle down. This is a week one overreaction, Your Honor. This is typical of every NFL fan, every fantasy pundit. Buy low on Allen Robinson. People will be just dropping him to waivers for no reason. People will be trading him for no reason. And just get him. Just get him. I reckon he'd be a good bench stash. Let him really sizzle up for a bit, and then he'll be a great start. So don't give up on Allen Robinson yet. My panic meter says 3 out of 10 for him.
Can I be a witness for the defense? I've actually got something to add.
This is unprecedented.
Whoa.
There's no precedent for this.
180.
Yeah, I'm a different person. That was a different person that was a prosecutor.
This is Rollat, not Taylor.
Exactly.
Jefferson.
So I think there's a defense here because Robert Woods last year, it's to use him because he's basically the wide receiver 2 last season at the Rams behind Cooper Kupp. He started terrible too. He had a really, really bad first few games and everyone was talking about dropping into waivers. And then all of a sudden he was the wide receiver 9 within a few weeks on the whole season. So he definitely found a way in that offense, even with Cooper Kupp dominating. And the fact is they just played the Bills. The Bills are going to be one of the best, if not the best defense to face all year. And now they play Atlanta this week. Like straight away, you've got an absolutely way better matchup for that whole offense. So I just think that, it's a huge overreaction.
Yeah.
No,
Can I
it
just
isn't.
quickly ask
No, it
too,
isn't. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Are we still
Screw.
giving Atlanta the? We looked this up since last week's show. Last year, Atlanta with a genuine asshole defense. Is that label still applicable?
Yes.
Statute of limitations hasn't run out on that.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll be the prosecution. Let's go full 180 myself. Did you see AJ Terrell, the best cornerback, get absolutely cooked up by Michael Thomas?
Manjot, the public
touchdowns,
prosecution.
58. Yeah, public prosecution. AJ Terrell got absolutely cooked up with his best defenders getting cooked like that. 100% is still the genuine Arsenal defense. And honestly, Cooper Kupp can easily go past AJ Terrell. And whoever the second cornerback is, probably some dude I've never heard of. Allen Robinson's going to have a field day. I think Allen Robinson could get 100 yards easily this week. And yeah, now we're going back to my public defender now. Look, Your Honor.
He was the prosecution defender for a second. Now
You
he's back to
don't,
defending the public.
you don't need anything else. You had a star witness, Manjot. You're good to go.
Look, Your Honor, it was just
Segment's wild.
Matthew Stafford was playing like absolute dog shit all of week 1. In week 2, it should improve a lot. There, I rest my case.
So what we're saying here is if you have a bad game against the genuine asshole defense, then, that's on you, Matt Stafford. But, don't blame Allen Robinson for that. And don't blame Allen Robinson for the Bills. And don't blame Allen Robinson is what we're getting from Manjot here, right?
Yeah.
It's everyone else's fault. Don't
Look,
drop
it
your
was
people.
zone coverage. It was zone coverage.
No, it's the whole system and
so
the vibe. It's the vibe of the whole constitution.
Matthew Stafford apparently didn't throw to him because the Bills were running zone coverage the whole time.
And they didn't have breakfast together. So that's interesting.
Not enough croissants. I think that's what they need to do. Is we
I-
need to send a pack of
I do
croissants, some
croissants.
pastries from
Croissants.
Manjot. Yeah. Croissant. Get a few of
I do
Manjot's pastries
croissants,
over there, and they can dine together. Because receivers and quarterbacks who dine together, they grow together, don't they?
Yeah.
100%. We've seen that. Michael Pittman Jr. and Matt Ryan, they're having a bowl of Fruit Loops each. They're having a great time down there in Indianapolis. Can't wait for them to kick my Jags'
They
ass.
don't shit themselves.
I don't know. I started Matt Ryan in starts of the week last week, and we'll get into that in the late week show. There was definitely undies. There were coloured undies.
Yeah.
Cleveland
so do you
style.
think I got the win there? Did I win that case? I think I did.
Yeah, look, again, expert witness helped, but I think definitely won that
I
one.
don't know what happened. All of a sudden, Taylor is meant to be grilling
think I
Allen
won.
Robinson is defending him, and Manjot who's meant to be defending him is like, yeah, but by the way, fuck Allen Robinson. Just don't know what happened.
I'm the prosecution all of a
I
sudden.
said the Atlanta defense. I was going public prosecution on the Atlanta defense. They were still genuine asshole. So that helped me in my case for the
It was
freaking-
I think this
unbelievable.
case is just going to get thrown out. This is
Yeah,
wild.
it was the prosecution didn't even know who the person they were talking about
I mean,
initially.
it wasn't a good
all of a
start.
sudden there was a really handsome witness come in, and yeah, it was just a great.
Yeah, and I started talking
Great.
We're all
about
lost in his
defense.
eyes. Fuck. Okay, I think that's a draw. I don't know how you fucking score that. How
Retrial.
do you score
Nah,
that?
Mistrial,
that's
sorry.
got to be 100%
The mistrial.
me.
We're going to take this up again in week 3. Allen Robinson's back.
In terms of like actually giving people advice out there, though, don't drop Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
Just don't. Like he gets a far better matchup this week. Have a look what happens against Atlanta. If the offense dominates and he still does nothing, then you can have a look around after that. But just please don't drop him right now.
Yeah. And can we do a follow-up case from last week? Joe Burrow absolutely let me down.
We
Made
let
me
this
look
guy
like
back
a
on the
bad-
street, and look what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, bad,
Mate, you're
lawyer.
getting guilty people off. How do you feel? How do you sleep at night?
How do I sleep at night? I thought he was a genuine good fellow. I mean, the name Joe Shiesty and Joe Burr was sounding just so good.
If I can
Yeah.
play Shiesty, I can tell you that.
I think the Shiesty just
Thoroughly any good.
Look, 5 turnovers. That's 5
Oof.
pastries to me. I don't understand. The Steelers defense was just balling the whole game. The Bengals O-line.
That
just
monster is
absolutely-
walking the street, thanks to you, Manjot.
Yeah.
He's
He got
prowling
he got
neighborhoods.
sacked 7
He is.
times. I'm going to do public defender on Joe Burrow. This is case 2. This is the state versus Joe Burrow number 2. So I'm going to defend Joe Burrow yet again because he got sacked 7 times in that game. Bengals O-line is still gelling together, but they're still absolute dog shit at the moment. So just hold your horses on Joe Burrow. He can still be good. This guy, you need to be careful about just dropping him or doing any BS like that. He'll get better. He'll be cooking bad defenses. It's okay. Joe Burrow, he had 7 sacks the most in the whole league. He was sacked 7 times. That's more than anyone in the league. I think tied with, I think it was Matt Ryan or something.
There were a few times though it was kind of his fault though. Like he could have got rid of the ball quicker and stuff. So
he had wide open receivers everywhere. It was just a bad game. I'm going to let him off the hook. Next,
my boy T. Higgins got a concussion early.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, T. Higgins. That's another thing that happened. But Burrow, to his credit, despite 5 turnovers, still got 22.2 fantasy points.
Which is just amazing.
It's just amazing. 5 turnovers would usually be under 10 points.
And that one mark his game too. Like if he was sitting at what he was at halftime, Mark would have lost.
Yeah. His second
he was one of the closest ones in the whole league. And he scored about average for our league as well, and everyone either scored way unders or way overs. He's at like pretty much right on average.
Yeah.
Mate, I think, if you're going to get sacked 7 times, the quick answer is, well, fucking throw it. But then when you throw it and the other team keeps catching it, you don't throw it. So I don't know.
Just take a knee.
Maybe it's a good time to say, hey, coach, can we just send in Brandon Allen or whatever else is going on the depths of the bench? Can we just send that guy in? This is a bullshit day out. Real shocker. And I mean, against a team we weren't even expecting all that much from in Pittsburgh. So it's just, I don't know. If I was given the opportunity to start Joe Burrow this week or Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
That's where I'm at already. And that
because
sounds like we all agree.
Against Arizona.
It's because against Arizona, who just let him 5 touchdowns to Mahomes.
Yeah.
So what can Derek Carr do?
How are we defending a guy we can't even start when Derek Carr's a better opportunity?
Exactly.
I mean, Joe Burrow.
I'd start, I wouldn't have an issue starting him against the Cowboys, but yeah, there are definitely options I'd play over him. Put it that way. And that was my issue with his ADP. Is like you're taking him at like ADP of like quarterback 6, yet there's still people you'd be fine to play over him on certain weeks. So yeah, I just felt like you could wait a little bit and get someone else that way less draft capital that you're happy to stream as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I don't even know how that segment got to what it is now, but I like that we'll recap. I think we'll recap before we bring in our witness next week, and it'll also give us a minute to work out who we're putting on trial. Because that was a bad start.
Prosecution's having a few meetings next week.
Yeah. Instead of some brewskis, we might have a meeting. What do you reckon?
Sounds good.
The defense won this one. We actually did some good preparation last week.
You reckon the defense won, and then you let Burrow out and you did all that. He pretty much killed the whole family. What are you doing, mate?
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
Burrow should be on some kind of list. Family should know.
You should have to wear a little bell.
Yeah. If he's got an ice cream van, I'm not letting my kids near him.
Jesus Christ. Get one of those little ankle bracelets so he's not allowed too far away from the pocket. Yeah.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
My takeaway from that game is they played against the Seahawks. They're going to be flappy ass cheeks this year.
Aussie?
Well, we heard you were taking a Lamar Jackson style shit.
Yes. Manjot, I like to do what I do best in this world, and that's where I do some of my best work.
NFL?
Oh, hang on, there's another quote. Daniel Jones is awful.
Fantasy?
Yeah, this is predate the Manjot, the myth, the legend, 100%. Because I was only born in 2017. I'm only 5.